Okay, so let's start with a question. If I put a big red button in front of you right now and I told you pressing it would physically turn you back into your 21-year-old self, would you push it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my hand would hit that button before you even finish the sentence.
Right. You get the knees back, the energy, all of it. But here's the catch, and it's a huge one.
Hmm.
You keep your general wisdom, but you lose the specific memories of the last 10 years.
Oh.
The PhD you earned, the relationships you built, it's all gone. You're basically doing a factory reset on your life. Do you still press it?
Wow. That changes things completely. You're basically asking if the self is the hardware, the body, or the software, the memories.
Exactly. And that is the core question in the document we're unpacking today. It's a first-person account from 1967 by a scientist named Genrikh Altov. And it's all about his time at this place called Clinic Sapsan, which was located deep in the Arctic tundra.
And we should be really clear here. This is not a luxury spa retreat we're talking about.
Yeah.
This text describes a truly radical experiment in what you could call forced evolution. They weren't just trying to help people live longer to play more golf.
No.
They were trying to solve a very specific problem.
Yeah.
The human mind hits a ceiling, and they wanted to smash right through it.
It reads like the hardest of hard science fiction, but the details are just so granular. We've got giant tortoises, logic machines, Nobel laureates modifying their own eyeballs. Our mission today is to break down the 3 types of immortality they propose, the race between human brains and machines, and the, frankly, terrifying side effects of trying to upgrade your own biology.
It's a fascinating glimpse into how they saw the future back in the 60s. They didn't just want to extend life, they were trying to optimize it.
So let's start with the location itself, Clinic Sapsan.
Sapsan means peregrine falcon in Russian, which becomes very important later on.
It does, but the building. Altov describes it as a blue lighthouse in an orange sea.
And that orange sea is the autumn tundra. It's totally isolated.
By design.
Completely. I mean, if you're going to rewrite human biology, you don't do it in the middle of Moscow. You go somewhere with no distractions, no noise.
He talks about this huge cylindrical tower. Inside, there's a transparent dome over this 300-meter wide courtyard. It's all high-tech, tiled, warm, and just walking around are tortoises.
Giant numbered tortoises.
That was a detail that just got me. You have this cutting-edge lab, and wandering through the lobby are these ancient reptiles with white numbers painted on their shells. It's so surreal.
It feels like a fever dream, but it's actually functional.
How so?
They're part of the memory experiment. They live a long time, they move slow. They're the perfect biological hard drive for long-term memory tests. But you're right, symbolically it's perfect. The slowest creature on Earth in a lab trying to accelerate evolution.
And the scientists running the place, it's like
yeah.
the classic odd couple of Nobel laureates.
It really is. First, you've got Yuri Petrovich Bitovsky. He's the humanitarian, the calm, intellectual one. Altov says he looks like Chekhov.
But with one very weird detail, he wears dark sunglasses all the time.
Indoors, outdoors, everywhere.
And we find out later that's not a fashion choice.
Not at all. It's a medical necessity because of what he did to himself.
We'll get to that horror show. Then there's the other guy, Vladimir Panarin, VV as they call him. He is the complete opposite.
Pure kinetic energy. He's the engine of the whole project. The text says he'll sit quietly, reading, and then just erupt with thought production. He is the driving force.
And our narrator is caught between these two. He's a 31-year-old doctor of science who works on evrotrons.
Right.
Okay, so for those of us not up on 1960s cybernetics, what is an evrotron?
Think of it as an early theoretical version of AI, but it's focused specifically on something called heuristics.
Okay, explain heuristics like I'm 5.
Sure, a normal calculator checks every single possibility. It's slow. A heuristic machine, or a human brain, sort of, intuits the answer. It takes an educated guess.
So he's building machines that can have eureka moments.
Exactly. He's building inventing machines.
So he's a guy building smart machines, and he's come to a clinic to become a smarter human.
That's the beautiful irony. And this is where Panarin lays out the clinic's whole philosophy. He says, biological immortality.
Right.
That's the easy part. They've already solved it.
Right.
The real problem is the mind.
This is where we get the 3 variants of immortality, and I love that Panarin just trashes the first 2.
Oh, yeah. Variant 1, extended old age. You just live longer as an old person. Panarin calls it typical not it.
Typical not it. I love that.
It's so dismissive, right? He's like, why would you want that? You're just stretching out the decline, keeping a tired mind running on fumes.
Okay, then there's variant 2, eternal youth. The vampire fantasy. Stop aging at 25, live forever. Why does he hate this one?
This is where I think he gets really profound. He calls this the path to the eternal fool.
The eternal fool. Harsh.
But listen to his logic. Human development is driven by our life cycle. We grow, we learn, we mature. If you freeze someone biologically at 25, they stop developing psychologically.
So they have all the energy, but no depth.
Exactly. They become, in his words, an energetic idiot who just never goes away. Imagine a world run by people with the emotional maturity of college sophomores. Forever.
That sounds awful and loud.
Exactly. So that brings him to variant 3, the restart.
Which is tied to this idea he has of the science trap. This part is so counterintuitive. Why is being a 31-year-old expert a bad thing?
Because expertise eventually becomes a prison. Panarin says when you're young, you attack old theories. You want to tear them down.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you become the old theory. You spend all your energy defending your own work.
You become the establishment, protecting your legacy instead of finding the truth.
You calcify. And to make a real leap forward, a quantum jump, you need a young brain that's willing to destroy everything.
So the goal is to take a 31-year-old expert, turn his body back to 21, and wipe the calcification from his brain.
It's like hitting clear cache on your mind. You keep the basic operating system, but you delete all the old cookies and browsing history.
But the requirements for this procedure, I honestly laughed out loud. You have to be a talented orphan.
A talented orphan with a PhD.
It's the world's most specific and depressing dating profile. Must be brilliant, must have no family.
It sounds absurd, but there's a ruthless logic to it.
What's the logic?
It's a social disaster otherwise. Imagine your 31-year-old husband comes home one day looking like a 21-year-old student.
Hi, honey, I'm home, and I'm now younger than your little brother.
Right. It would be traumatizing to the family. So they needed brilliant people who were also socially detachable.
Yeah.
And that's a very small pool. They had 8 candidates. One went to Africa, one crashed a motorcycle.
And our narrator is one of the few left. But here's the human part. He initially says no.
Which is so important. He wasn't scared of the physical procedure. He was scared of losing his identity.
He calls it what was conquered.
Yeah, he spent 10 years fighting to build his lab, to get his evrotrons accepted. He has a team of 40 people. Erasing that feels like a betrayal of his own life.
It's the sunk cost fallacy, right? I worked too hard to become this guy to just delete him.
Absolutely. But Panarin hits him with this incredible line. The narrator says, "But I have a team of 40 people." And Panarin just replies.
Humanity has a team of 4 billion.
It's such a mic drop moment.
It is.
It just completely shifts the scale. Suddenly, it's not about one man's career. It's about the survival of the species. And you have to remember the context. This is the 1960s. The computer age is dawning.
They mention an interview with Norbert Wiener, the father of cybernetics.
And the fear back then wasn't that robots would kill us, like in the Terminator. The fear was suicide by obsolescence.
Meaning?
That machines improves exponentially. A computer from 1960 is a joke compared to one from 1970, but the human brain.
Biologically, we haven't had a firmware update in thousands of years.
Exactly. We are running modern software on Stone Age hardware. And Panarin's point is that if machines become inventive, which the narrator's own work is proving possible, then humans have to upgrade, or we become pets to our own creations.
So this isn't about vanity. It's an arms race between biology and silicon.
It is.
And speaking of upgrades, we have to talk about the super senses, because this is where the story goes from philosophical to, like, full-on body horror. Let's go back to Bitovsky and his sunglasses.
This all ties back to the clinic's name, Sapsan, the peregrine falcon. Bitovsky had this encounter where he watched a falcon dive bomb hunters to protect its nest, and he became obsessed with its eyes.
A falcon's vision is insane. It can see prey while diving at over 100 meters a second.
So Bitovsky, being the mad scientist he is, he modified his own eyes. He gave himself hypervision.
Which sounds like a superpower. I'd take that. Who wouldn't want to see like an eagle?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
And it's amazing for looking at nature. You can see individual flower petals from kilometers away.
Yeah.
But then he looks at a human face.
Oh.
He sees every pore, every burst capillary, every microscopic flaw. He says it's grotesque, aesthetically ruined. He literally can't stand to look at people without the glasses to filter it all out.
Wow. You enhance one thing and you break the whole user experience. You can't connect with people because you see too much.
And Panarin has his own version of this. If Bitovsky upgraded his input, his eyes, Panarin upgraded his processing, his memory.
Multi-track mind. The narrator walks in and sees him reading a math paper, a neurology text, and learning Spanish.
All at the same time, on a screen scrolling at a blinding speed.
How is that even possible?
They call it paraconstitutive systems. He basically learned to partition his brain like a hard drive. He can run 9 separate intellectual tasks at once.
That's every productivity guru's dream.
But again, there's a cost. A tax. The text notes that once Panarin gets to the 8th or 9th track, his brain runs so hot it starts to emit radiation.
You mean like heat or
Telepathic noise. His thoughts start leaking out. It creates this overwhelming pressure in the room.
So if everyone had this ability,
Society would collapse into a screaming mess of everyone's inner monologues. It would be hell.
it really makes you think our biological limits are there for a reason. They keep us sane.
They do. But despite seeing all this, the guy who can't look at faces, the guy leaking thoughts, our narrator says yes. He signs up.
So what's the actual procedure?
It's called consolidation. And this part is terrifying. The physical part is easy. It's just chemistry. They can drop exactly 10 years off the body. But the mind? They have to shake loose the last 10 years of long-term memory.
Shake loose does not sound like a medical term.
Think of it like a wax seal that's hardened. They have to melt it down, turn all that hard-coded memory back into a fluid operative state.
So for a while, his past is just floating.
Exactly. For a few months, he's in this critical period where he has to frantically choose what to re-remember and fix it back into place before the wax hardens again.
And if he fails,
The last decade just evaporates. He'd wake up as a 21-year-old with no idea he ever got a PhD, a blank slate.
that is the highest stakes memory game ever. You're literally curating your own soul.
But if he succeeds, he gets the Holy Grail. The wisdom of a 31-year-old in the body of a 21-year-old with a mind that's willing to break all the old rules.
So what's the final push? What makes him say yes?
He has this moment of clarity. He looks at his team at the lab and realizes they're good. They can manage without him. And instead of feeling bad, he feels liberated. He realizes he has to get out of the way for progress to happen.
And then they give him that temporary dose of Bitovsky's eye drops.
Yeah, that scene is incredible. He looks out at the tundra and just sees
Yeah.
everything. The bottom of lakes, the feathers on birds miles away, the actual structure of the northern lights. It's an explosion of beauty.
And that beauty convinces him that human potential is barely being tapped.
But then, right at the very end, Altov drops a twist, a big one.
The talented orphan rule.
The one hard and fast rule, no family.
You lied.
He lied, or at least omitted a pretty big truth. In his final notes, he writes, "I am not an orphan. She's 24 years old, a geophysicist in the taiga."
He has a wife. He's doing the one thing Panarin said would be a disaster.
A 24-year-old wife who is about to have her 31-year-old husband come home as a 21-year-old.
That is so messy.
It's incredibly messy. But his reasoning is, it's a huge gamble. He's betting on the future. He writes that in a few years, age will be a meaningless concept. He believes the experiment will work so well that all our social norms about age will just dissolve.
He's betting his entire marriage on a scientific revolution.
It is the ultimate act of faith in progress. He's stepping into that machine, believing the world he helps create will have no use for old definitions like husband, wife, old, or young.
It's just a staggering place to end. The whole philosophy of Clinic Sapsan seems to be that the most valuable skill isn't learning, it's unlearning.
That is the key. We spend our whole lives building this fortress of knowledge and identity, but they argue that the fortress eventually becomes a prison. And to truly evolve, you have to be willing to tear it all down.
It's all about being fluid, keeping the mind plastic.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought. We think of intelligence as accumulation, gaining more knowledge, more memories. But what if the ultimate act of intelligence is the courage to delete your own hard drive? What if the smartest thing you can do is just hit reset?
A terrifying and liberating thought. If that big red button was on your desk right now, delete and restart, would you have the guts to press it? That's all for this deep dive.
Keep thinking.
See you in the next deep dive.